Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Want to thank everybody for their support over at Patreon. Again, there's different membership tiers over there with different benefits. And at certain tiers, you actually get a session with us, which, again, we are energy workers, life coaches, biofield tuners, Vedic astrology practitioners. We just enjoy basically getting the ability to really talk in depth and help you guys in any way that we possibly could. We want to also thank everybody that's supporting us with YouTube memberships as well. And again, we have 3 channels. Heart's Home is the newest channel. Arts was the backup channel, and it's our primary one that we go live with more towards the afternoon and evening. And Evolutionary Energy Arts is the original channel, which they've really suppressed by keeping us basically out of the algorithms. So again, check in daily. We typically do a video most days.
Indeed, and it's just what we're trying to do to help move the needle on this very oppressive system that we find ourselves in.
Yes, and we have yet another asteroid discovered just days ago. It's going to narrowly miss Earth, coming closer to the Earth than the Moon. Literally, it'll be about a quarter of the distance, they say, between the Earth and the Moon. And as we've said before, this does happen. It seems like it's happening an abnormal amount of times lately. That's the difference. So yet another. We're talking about these almost, it seems like every other day, that all of a sudden there's one coming through. 24% of the average distance between the Earth and the Moon. That's the distance. They don't know exactly how big this one is, but they say it doesn't pose any danger. Might be as big as a school bus, or it might be a little bit less than that. Again, it's just been so many of them. And how about the severe storms? This is near St. Liberty in Nebraska, where a man and his dog were pulled out of basically just rubble. It's amazing to me when we see so many houses just completely destroyed, and yet, thankfully, no loss of life at the moment. And, here you did have, under all that rubble, a man and his dog. I think, again, that shows that we do have guardian angels.
We definitely have guardian angels, and when we come on here and we say prayers for people, it's almost like we are opening the door. If someone else is not in a position to call their guardian angels, and then we do, that does open the door for help for other people.
The WHO declares global Ebola emergency. At least 8 confirmed cases, 246 suspected of infections, and 80 suspected deaths have been reported in the Congo, along with 2 cases in Uganda as well. Yeah, again, this is something that's flared up from time to time. And here at the same time, the WHO stopped short of labeling the situation a pandemic emergency. So it's not labeled a pandemic emergency at this point. But again, they are watching it closely, and there have been unusual clusters of deaths and infections among medical workers, pointing to a possible widespread community transmission and serious gaps in hospital infection control. The outbreak could already be spreading beyond what surveillance systems are catching. Unlike the more common Zaire strain of Ebola, there are currently no approved ouchies or targeted treatments for this particular one, which they call Bundibugyo virus. Okay, well, again, I think the best thing for people to do, in my mind, is to, again, boost your health as much as you can. How do you do that? Well, you try to eat as healthy as possible. You have a mind-body-spirit practice, because, again, our emotions, when they're not handled, when they're not processed, they can be buried inside the body and literally cause dis-ease, which causes disease. Again, you want to maintain a proper healthy environment in your body and in your mind, body, spirit complex. Because again, we are spiritual beings. We are beings of pure consciousness having a temporary human experience. And of course, the last thing we want to have happen to us while we're having this human experience is tick bites. Yet, tick bites are surging, sending many people to the ER. And here is an updated map to show you. You can see, look at this chart and graph. Man, those, again, it's spiking. And, this year right here, it is so far ahead of where we were. Each year has been a record year, beating the one preceding it. And here's the map. Now, we're in the lowest area in the map. And yet it seems like we're taking them off of us and the dogs every single day. So this is the number of emergency visits for tick bites per 100,000 visits. As you can see, the Northeast, basically from Virginia on up to Maine. This is the biggest area, which again, right at the epicenter is Plum Island. We've done many videos talking about that. And it's a very, very scary, sad situation. But again, boost your immune system. Take care of your body, exercise, mind, body, spirit, practice, eat organic foods. And we understand that in this world, it's hard to find truly organic. And people will say there's no such thing as organic. But then again, when you're eating the cheaper conventional stuff, you are basically knowingly taking in more toxins. So again, we want to limit the amount of toxins that we are taking in. Somebody forgot the L in global, and this is RT. This is a big news station here. Global birth rates plunged after smartphones. Literally, fertility dropped sharply across several countries following the widespread adoption of smartphones. Now, they talk about the social phenomenon, like we're disconnecting. It's like, you got to text the wife in bed to say, honey, should I turn the light out? Or are you ready for... Well, yeah, where's the remote? I mean, they're talking about relationships and stuff, but I think it's also, we know there's a correlation going on between the unhealthy nature of this world that we're in with all the choices that are being made. Again, things like frequency, things like, obviously so many toxic, poisonous substances that we're exposed to. We're exposed to so many plastics. Sperm counts have dropped off the roof. That goes hand in hand with global birth rates plunging. Yes, the emotional disconnect is a part of things as well, as people are buddying up with AI in some cases. Or, again, maybe they like to promote that concept, because I see a lot of people pushing back against AI, a ton of people pushing back against AI. And I see the vast majority of comments anywhere that they're talking about data centers are, we don't want these freaking data centers, and yet they're still going up.
I know, they're shoving it down our throat just like everything else. And, when they do shove stuff down our throat, we've seen the results of it. It's not good.
No, it's pretty obvious, again, what they're doing. So, yeah, fertility rates going down, birth rates going down. In fact, populations are going to be decreasing. I think they already are decreasing in many areas. This is talking about the EU, and the EU's population is projected to shrink by 11% over the next 75 years. I think it's way more significant than that, really. And here you have somebody, in Europe, that's talking about salmon. And let's see if you could hear some of this.
Don't eat salmon. Norwegian don't eat, they produce Norwegian salmon because it's poisonous.
Yeah, wait a minute. You're saying don't eat Norwegian salmon because it's poisonous? So, again, talking about how things are being done. Never eat farm fish. Never eat farm fish, because that is, in my mind, from everything that I've read, it is one of the most toxified substances. So those farms are horrible. They're jam-packed in. There's all sorts of processes being done. Again, ouch, ouch. You get the point.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's horrible.
So yeah, if locals then don't do that, then you shouldn't too. By the way, this is Richland Parish. This is in Louisiana. This is coming out of New Orleans channel, talking about the scope of that Meta project, data center project, which again, many people are not on board with this, and it's just like it doesn't really matter, because here you have these power centers, these data centers are taking such a massive amount of, again, energy and water, that it's just ridiculous. Wait a minute, if we are having a hard time providing energy and water, why are they doing this? Because these things are just gobbling up resources. This is Rayville. Again, when I look at the comments down there, it's just, this is just a news channel. This is not a CONS piracy. It's so sad that they don't even know the hell they're about to go through. There goes our water and electricity and the beast system control in process. They couldn't build it if somebody didn't sell that land. Right. This isn't about fast internet. It's 100% about control over everything you buy, sell, and do. This is the beast system. Everybody knows it. Locally, and this is how Skynet started. Yeah, they're popping up all over. They suck up all the power and the resources, and they make life miserable for people. Creators of AI equals destroyers of humanity. Companies never lie. You get it. Every single person knows. Every single person knows, but they're still going up. Data centers in Nevada are taking up so much power, Lake Tahoe residents are going to lose 75% of their power starting May of 2027. This is more than insane. This is because they are moving to a complete out in the open technocracy, where those that have the technology, i.e. also what's warfare, being conducted with mostly, you see drones. So if they control the drones, then do they need to even pretend that there's any sort of democratic process, or any sort of true any sort of reality where people literally have a choice? Because people haven't been begging for these. They've been begging to stop building them. This guy is exhausted, and again, the noise. This is going on all night. This is just, it's so unhealthy. If there is to be some sort of mass disruption in the population, I have to think that this is a large part of numbers like, the Guidestones had in that song in Georgia, the ones that got blew up, etc., etc. Club of Rome numbers, again, the Beagle numbers. Yeah, this feels like a big part of that.
So, there's ways out there to not get tracked. And I was looking at something yesterday about how, the flock cameras are going to be involved in this, because every time you go through a stop sign, your license plate and your car and everything about you is being photographed and recognized. But I was watching yesterday, if you put a distorted lens, you can't cover up your license plate. But if you can get a distorted lens, like a magnifying, those magnifying sheets that you put over your book, so it makes the letters just a little bit bigger. It's something like that, but a little bit rounded. And I haven't found one yet, but I'm going to find one for our license plates. You put that over the license plate. You can see the license plate straight on, like if a police officer were looking at you. But if you look from up at the angle, like where the flock cameras are, you cannot see the license plate. That's fair. That's fair game. They're making it ugly. So I would suggest to every person, find a way to not get tracked, because there is a way. That's what they want. They want to track us, and it's crap.
Yeah, that sounds, again, dangerous too, because people do get singled out, people do get harassed, and again, it's just the fact that we are, again, living in a so-called democratic republic, but the reality is, no, it's a technocracy. Obviously, when you have again, the people in these different towns having their meetings screaming they don't want this, and then city councils do it anyway, even though it's overwhelming, then you don't really have any real say, because the people that are making the decisions are being bribed, in my mind, in my opinion, by corporations.
Well, they're really harassing people in the sense where if you are stopped at a red light and say it's in the middle of the night, you work second shift or third shift or whatever, and I don't know, I've been in that position where the light always stays red. It just doesn't turn green. You see, so if you go through that constant red light, you can get a ticket. And too bad. It's too bad. You run the red light, you're now documented. And then some people that now have, somehow they got a warrant out for their arrest. They don't know how the AI did it, but the AI labeled them as a warrant. So their license plate, every time it is snapshotted, it's going out to other police departments saying this person has a warrant out for their arrest. Keep an eye out for them, and they keep getting pulled over. So, I mean, this is far from anything where you can't get harassed. No, this just makes it easier to target you.
Please work remote. New York City braces for commuter chaos with the LIRR strike. Day 3 of Long Island Railroad strike set to cause commuter chaos this morning in New York City. 3,500 workers across 5 unions walked off the job Saturday after contract talks collapsed. Again, when you look at how can we be heard more than we are being heard? Again, who are these big corporations? Well, again, we have to hit them where the only thing they care about, and that's their profits. Again, support each other. Try to grow your own food or buy from local farmers and buy from farmers markets. That's wonderful. Again, support the little guys. Let's support each other. Americans leaving the U.S. in record numbers. Actually, we had a net loss in migration this past year. Many people are looking for other locations. This talks about Spain as being one of the hot spots, but again, many different areas. People are looking to escape what's going wrong in their area. The grass is not always greener. It is difficult and exhausting to move, and yet along move abroad. But at the same time, many people are, because again, if you feel like you're not being heard, if you feel like the politics are not representing you at all, then every person has a right to try to find a place that suits them better. But at the same time, a lot of people have roots in one place for so long, they don't want to change that. They have relationships in place and that they value, and that's where, again, building a stronger community comes in. There are HARP facilities all around the world, and of course, we heard all that about climate change and the agenda with climate change in order to impose carbon taxes, just another way of bleeding the average person completely dry. Meanwhile, these corporations build just massive profits beyond belief. We were talking about frequencies. This was a video from way back revealing cell phones and how they could actually pop popcorn. You think there's no frequencies coming off your technology? I believe it was the Mayans that had a prophecy about in this, at the end of the age and the beginning of the next age, the technology was going to be what was killing humans and killing humanity. The technology, literally. And that is what we're watching. We're watching technology be treasured over human lives and human values. Again, they've said everything themselves. They've given us, everything. They've really been very incriminating of themselves. This is WEF again.
Did we solve that? Did we actually manage to vaccinate everyone in the world? No. So highlighting water as a global commons and what it means to work together and see it both out of that kind of global commons perspective, but also the self-interest perspective, because it does have that parallel. It's not only important, but it's also important because we haven't managed to solve those problems which had similar attributes. And water is something that people understand. Climate change is a bit abstract. Some people understand it really well. Some understand it a bit. Some just don't understand it. Water. Every kid knows how important it is to have water. When you're playing football and you're thirsty, you need water. So there's also something about really getting citizen engagement around this and really in some ways experimenting with this notion of the common good. Can we actually deliver this time in ways that we have failed miserably?
The common good, yeah. So in other words, make data centers that are going to suck the ground dry all around the world. So there's a water shortage, because come on, humans aren't that dumb, not all of them. This kind-hearted lady who provided almost 2,000 people with food during a cost of living crisis discovered her vegetable patch was ruined with salt overnight. Who would do something like that? Again, there are people with co-ops. We have very beloved family members with co-ops in places like the UK, where maybe there's not a lot of big expansive farmland and stuff like that, but you could still provide for each other and provide locally. I think it's a beautiful idea. And what type of person would go and destroy plots of food? I tell you, somebody that values their profits over anything else. It's just part of this bigger reality. And here you have ex-Google CEO Eric Schmidt booed mercilessly as he talks AI to students. No, we get it. We don't want what they're selling. Most people don't. I really think the majority of the population, in this case, there's something there that's telling them, don't enable Skynet, don't sick the Terminator robots on it. We've watched that sci-fi movie before.
I know. It does feel like we have a little more momentum on this thing than we have on other things in the past. And it's because of the trip-ups that they've made in the past that we are feeling that urge to push harder against this control system than we ever have before. So I think that's good.
Yeah, so you could
If
listen.
science is not your passion, if you don't care about science, that's okay, because AI is going to touch everything else as well. Whatever path you choose, AI will become part of how work is done. If you have an idea for a company, you can build a website overnight. If you want to learn something entirely new and you want to have a personal tutor in any language,
I gave Chat GPT the parameters for the patio that I'm going to be laying pavers and building a lattice wall and some gates. And I gave Chat the numbers and asked for the most logical way to do this. And it couldn't even add. It missed totally the actual, I gave it all the parameters, the dimensions. It did basic math wrong. ChatGPT did basic math wrong. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And we see one AI channel after another that doesn't seem, well, it just seems like the AI is promoting the AI. So, that's interesting because it seems like, it's self-promoting, literally.
Yeah, they've kind of released it on YT, and it's really hurting a lot of legitimate channels where humans are the creators and they work with their passion and their love for change and, to push back against tyranny. Well, we're the ones who are being pushed back against by the AI that's not even correct. If you don't know, like if Mike didn't know how to add, he would not have caught that. So how many people are going to just, forget math because they think they can rely on AI and they're going to not even know how to make calculations, so they won't be able to catch mistakes when they're creating buildings. I mean, big buildings. This is not okay. This is not going over very well. And unless you really know how to catch mistakes, I mean, there's no reason to be using it.
No, it's, the reality is they're selling it as if AI is superior, but AI cannot create anything on its own. All it can do is take what humans give it and sort it faster, but not always correctly. That's the bottom line. It's just, it's not superior. It's inferior. Love is superior. And other biological beings are, again, superior in my mind to the AI. But it could be helpful and useful in some ways, but let's not let it get control of us.
I know. And what other things are unable to create on their own? The archons. The archons are unable to create anything original, utilizing our energy as a platform to launch their business, and let's just not let them do that. But no, biological love is tangible, and the way we love our planet is tangible, and we do have the ability to push back, and we just need to keep going and keep praying and keep calling on our guides and angels and supporting each other, backing each other up so that we can, help more with more people. I would say things are close to having our backs up against a wall where people are going to be uncomfortable and they're going to want to do something different. So keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And, here was one that we did. I was hoping we were going to get more views on this one. It was on Heart's Home. Yeah, it was an update on the chickens, as you could see, the chicken coop there. There are there's a lot of really great information here on Heart's Home. The real Yeshua, Jesus, the real, because again, we've been given the systems version of the Yeshua, Jesus, channeled messages there, great teachers and gurus. And for those that are delving into mantras, we have 52 mantra videos up over here, 26 meditations, some healing music, 432 hertz. Again, they changed the tuning from 432 to 440. 440 is disharmonious. Who did that? Well, it was a Rockefeller initiative. Of course, biofield tuning and light code activations, use these because they can definitely get you out of a rut. Again, we want to thank everybody for their support and memberships, and we couldn't do it without you guys. But as always, Loka Samasta Sukhi no Bhavantu. That means may all beings everywhere be happy and free. May my own thoughts, words, acts, and deeds contribute to that happiness and freedom for all beings. This is coming from Sanskrit, and it's coming from the Hindu tradition. And, my initial introduction to Hinduism was from fundamentalist Christianity, portraying it as the enemy. And I delved into it, and I found more truth there than I found like anywhere, really. The Taoist philosophy, tons of truth, tons of great information in Taoism to utilize. But yeah, the Vedic tradition is just amazing because they knew some of the true sacred science. They understood that, well, for instance, in the Bhagavata Purana, it talks about over 100,000 humanoid species living in our galaxy. How did they know it? Because they were taught these things by the benevolent ETs in the past golden and silver ages. In the Bronze Age, we had a mix. We started out in the high bronze with beings that were benevolent, and then we had the intrusion as we went towards the Kali Yuga of more and more negative archonic forces, which then took over all aspects of our reality for the Kali Yuga. But now they're being exposed for what they are. So don't fear other ETs out there. We have been under the control of the negative ones, and now they're just being revealed for what they are. And when we look at these Hindu gods, per se, who are they? In many cases, they're ultra-terrestrials. I mean, that's really what you're talking about. These are, again, teachers and guides that come from many different places, many different realities, realms. Loka is the word for realm or world. And, there are a lot out there that taught us deep, true spiritual truths. And not that we are slaves created to suit their every whim and pleasure and to sweat every day of our lives in service to them. No, that is the controller's point of view. What we get from this is that source is in you. This tradition goes hand in hand with the Gnostic tradition, with Hermeticism, with the hidden knowledge that's in the Kabbalah, again, about the true nature of consciousness and the fact that we are in a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream, and we are co-creators of this dream.
Indeed.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.